Okay, come on. Let's get to work.
Come on, man. It's nice and warm today. I'm so comfortable here.
Let's go.
All right. Well, folks, welcome to the channel. Today, we are talking about this truck right here. That is the 2022 GMC Canyon AT4. We have criticized the AT4 in the past for claiming to be an off-road truck, but without really having the off-road chops. Now, GMC heard us, and they made some additions to this truck that we have to tell you about, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's start it off with the walk around. Powering this GMC Canyon is a 3.6 liter V6. It makes 308 horsepower, 275 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Those power numbers have changed a little bit from launch, but this powertrain has basically been the same since this thing was revealed. So what you're looking at here is the AT4, and we might as well talk about the elephant in the room right away. We'll get it out of the way. The air dam. I do not think this air dam is supposed to be on this truck. Honestly, I just think either General Motors Canada or the dealership forgot to remove it. I'm gonna reach out and get absolute clarification. Allow me to explain right now. So the truck you're looking at in these photos is the Canyon AT4 Off-Road Performance Edition. This is the truck GMC rolled out to make the Canyon legitimately better off-road. It gets a 1-inch suspension leveling kit, so it's just a front end lift. It gets performance skid plates, off-road rocker panel protection, 17-inch gloss black wheels, black AT4 badges, a black exhaust tip, accessory floor liners, a spray and bed liner, and maybe most importantly, removal of the front air dam. Honestly, when I went to pick up my GMC Canyon AT4, I expected it to have this package, so as you already saw, I was surprised that there was a front air dam. Now, I reached out to GM Canada and they cleared it up for me. The off-road performance package is not available in Canada. If you want the package, you have to be in the United States. So the truck you see in this video is basically as close as we get here in Canada. It does have a couple upgrades like those steps. It has a spray-in bed liner, the upgraded floor liners inside, and then of course, because it's an AT4, it still has the tires and the suspension, but that also means that every one of these trucks in Canada will be delivered with that air dam, and I recommend that once you get your truck, you remove it yourself before a rock does. This Canyon, as you see it right here, was brand new back in 2015, at least for the 2015 model year. So we are coming up on 7 years and the end of this generation. For 2023, it might actually be 2024 model year. We're not totally sure yet. We're going to be getting a new GMC Canyon and a new Chevy Colorado. Now, one of the things we've seen in the past that is helping to inform what might come on that new Canyon is the Overland X concept. GMC rolled this out last summer, and you can see it here. We're kind of looking at this concept as, hey, maybe this is what they'll do in the future. And let me read off just a few of the modifications here. So this thing has a factory lift, a wider off-road chassis, off-road rocker panel protectors, cast iron control arms, heavy-duty front bumper with an integrated winch. Wouldn't it be cool to have a winch from the factory? Integrated front recovery points, front and rear electronic locking differentials, and then maybe most importantly, Multimatic DSSV dampers. Now in the half tons with the 1500 and the Sierra, or I should say the Silverado and the Sierra, we've seen those trucks go very similar for the off-road packages, ZR2 to AT4, and I expect with the next generation, the AT4 won't lag behind the ZR2 like it does now. I think the AT4 will catch up and they'll both offer the same level of off-road competence. Now let's cover towing and payload. So when it comes to towing with the gas engine, 7,000 pounds, go for the small diesel and you can actually get up to 7,700. And then looking at payload, and I will point out, unlike on the half-ton trucks and the big SUVs, we don't have that awesome information trailering sticker on the mid-size trucks. I don't know why GM hasn't rolled it out. It gives you your towing, your payload, your GVWR, a whole bunch of other numbers. Anyways, the payload on this truck, as you see it, 1,311 pounds. A pretty nice number for a mid-sized truck. Now folks, here we are driving in this Canyon AT4. So let's just talk about sort of the changes and how they affect the drive. Then you have the tires. And Dad, I think we can both agree the Duratracs, we've had them on a lot of different trucks. We've run them up the Hydro line, the left hook, really solid all-terrain tire. Although by my estimation, probably one of the loudest OE tires you can get. Like, just listen for a sec. You hear a lot of tire, right?
It's singing on the highway for sure.
Yeah, and I would say this is louder than something like a KO2 or something like that. So that is definitely something to be aware of with the Duratracs. Now, besides that, we do have unique suspension tuning here in the AT4, but it basically rides like a regular Canyon, and that is to say, nice, quiet, comfortable, well, quiet besides the tires, but fairly quiet still. Yeah, I've always thought this was a really nice riding truck, and that's never really changed. What's your feeling on it, just driving down the road?
I agree with everything you've said, and just to talk about AT4, because that's really, I think, what we're discussing here is not so much the Canyon.
Sure.
The Canyon is a known quantity. AT4, when they brought it out, was basically what I used to call PNS. It's just paint and stickers. There was nothing really special about it. But then they decided that within the GMC brand, AT4 was going to be the off-road thing, so they've attached it to everything, whether it was trucks or SUVs, half-tons, mid-size. Okay, fine. Last year they figured out that guys who were buying AT4 actually wanted a little more ability, capability, so they've added a few things, and those are, I'm not going to use the word obvious, but they're there. And it's better, but, and here's the big but, it's not a ZR2.
Yeah.
So Chevy owns that. If you want a ZR2, and that is a serious off-roader, well then you got to go there. And GMC, of course, is missing out, and I believe their dealers are crying because of it. And the last point I'll make before you can chime in is that in the States, in a way, it's not a huge deal because GMC way undersells Chevy. But in Canada, it's about a 50-50 split. So you got a lot of GMC guys here who would rather be driving their version of the ZR2 rather than the Chevy. So this is what I think next year they got to fix.
Yeah, and you know what, you're totally right. This feels like sort of foreshadowing for what's coming with the new Canyon, because I mentioned this earlier in the video already, when they did the new Sierra and Silverado, well now we have, I believe it's the Sierra AT4X. They have another off-road model, and that is the equivalent of the ZR2 for the Silverado. So with the half-tons, they recognize, yeah, GMC shouldn't be second fiddle in the off-road arena, and I bet that will happen here. You know, like you said, it's already happening, but when we get the new generation, I bet they'll be the same, but just look different. What's going to be really cool too is we should get a new Canyon in Colorado basically the same time we get the new Tacoma, because Toyota is also working on a new midsizer over there. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two shake out. And then, yeah, what GM does with this. If you want a prediction, I think we'll probably see the V6 go away and they're going to move to a turbocharged 4-cylinder. Yeah. That's my guess for the small midsizers. It just seems to make sense. Hybrid or maybe plug-in too. That also makes a lot of sense, I think, for these smaller trucks. But we're gonna have to wait and see what they do.
I would spend my money on hybrid, but you know what? This V6 is really good. I wouldn't like to see that go away. I've got one final thought on this Canyon and the Colorado for that matter. As we said, there is a new one coming next year, and oftentimes we get comments talking about tried and true, longevity, what will it be like in a few years' time, etc., etc. Well, if you're that kind of a person that never buys the new thing, always wants to wait until something has been run through the plant for a few years, well, then this is your truck, because you're now coming to the end of a cycle, a 7-year cycle, and frankly, they've worked out just about everything that they possibly could have worked out. So before they go off and change it again, if you want one, go get it now.
Well, we've come to the end of this one, folks, and you've heard our thoughts on this specific truck, so let me sort of sum up the last 7 years of Canyon in Colorado. In 2015, when these trucks relaunched, nobody was getting into mid-size trucks. In fact, everybody was pulling out of small trucks. But General Motors said, there is a market here, and they were correct. When these relaunched, it ignited the marketplace. Tacoma and Frontier sales blew up. Hey, Ford brought back the Ranger because of this truck right here. Now, I am excited to see what GM has in the next generation of its mid-sizers, but I think when we look back at this gen, we will always be thankful for the GMC Canyon in Colorado reigniting the mid-size market. Like I said, that's it for this one, so please go below now. Let me know your thoughts on the GM Twins. As always, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.